I'm live. That's what it says anyway. I believe I'm live, right? I'm alive. And perfect timing. I believe that almost, there we go. The live from what we just did about an hour ago just showed up on my TikToks and YouTube. So yay for that. I'll have to remind myself to download that, upload that. It's downloaded. Upload TTL and what? Well, actually, YouTube's already there. Good stuff. So good morning. It's morning where I am. It is rainy where I am. It's raining on prom night. Hope things are well with you. All right, I've got some good stuff going on. I do. I try to keep it that way. I hope you do too. I just got notified that I was live here on YouTube. And so there we go. Hey, Cheryl Siegel. Good morning to see you. Good morning to see you. Good morning and nice to see you. I'm just kind of doing some puttering and decluttering, putting things back where they belong as we ease into the next hour or so together. Why not make good use of your time? And I hope you've got some good use of your time. I'm going to write this down as I think about it. Question mark. There we go. So good evening, good afternoon, everybody. What's going on? This is just so you know. Today, Monday, March 23rd. Yay, broski, getting so much done when you're live. Well, yeah, so let's make good use of the time because honestly, PM 6044, is that you, Patty? I'm thinking it is, but I could be wrong. They give people weird names sometimes here on TikTok or YouTube. This YouTube live will be for the next hour or so. And after that, it's the only one. It is the only one for this entire week. Okay, so I say that to you, not to get your nervous system activated and, oh my gosh, what? But it's to be like, noted. Thank you for informing me of that information. And then it's going to be a matter of, okay, how could we make the best use of our time together today? Now, I'm here to help you. And I pretty much just show up with the energy and hopefully the skills to help you. But where you need the help, where not even you need, I need to, would be, where would you like the help? Good morning, Danielle. I love the good morning after the my allergies are kicking my butt. Yeah, notice step number 1. How are you feeling physically? You probably got as far as here, and you could have a headache. You could have a nose that's stuffed. You could have a sore throat. Oh, I hope you're doing something about it. And yes, Danielle, pretty much the only reason, frankly, that I would most often not do a TikTok live is when I am scheduled to travel. And yay for taking care of yourself. Yes, I am traveling. I was traveling last week till yesterday. I got home very early in the morning. And then tomorrow, not so early in the morning, we leave, and I won't be back until sometime on Saturday. So then we will have a couple of days. And then honestly, the funny thing is I'll be completely like transparent. I only scheduled TikTok lives and YouTube lives like over a week ago through the end of March because the end of March seems so far away. Now I realize that the end of March, not to alarm you, just to inform you, the end of March, AKA the beginning of April, is next week. I am going to put my calendar up on my thing so I can, so next Tuesday. So we've got a week plus left of March, and then April happens. I will also be traveling a bit in April and in May and in June, and probably July, August, September, October. You get the idea. But I show up for you to help you wherever you want the help. Okay? Now, yay, okay, that is Patty And for those of you who don't know me, there's just a couple of people chatting in the chat, so there may be just some observers. That's fine. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. I do YouTube lives and TikTok lives about an hour long. We just started this one, so we'll be here for about the next 55 minutes, and I am here to help you with where you're struggling clutter-wise and where you want to learn how to help yourself get out of the struggle. Okay. So Patty, yes, good enough. Good enough. That's a wonderful way. Instead of perfect, good enough, decluttered front room, and Christmas wrapping. Did some cleaning and chores. Laundry is in, appointments made, ready to do meal planning. Awesome. Sounds like a good beginning to a Monday, Patty. I did some puttering and decluttering between the TikTok live and YouTube live. That was good stuff. Hey there, on fire for you. I recognize that name from the TikTok, and yes, first time on YouTube with me. So the only difference really for Awesome Sassy Sauce is that when we do a TikTok live, you usually see about this amount of me, or a TikTok is this, and a YouTube is this. So you see slightly more of the space around me, but the format's the same. You put something in the chat you want help with, I will respond to what you put in the chat. Things that I don't want to respond to, I will just ignore in case we get any trolls around here. But every day looks and feels a little bit different for all of us, as it should. Can you imagine if every day looked and felt the same? We may think that's a good thing, but after a while, it could get pretty boring. Now, do I want every day to be rainy and gray like this? No, but I also know that this too shall pass. So I hope you're feeling good today. I hope you're feeling good in your body. So let's do a scan, shall we? Number 1, remember this format for when I'm not around to remind you. Write this down if you want. I want people to take notes. So you remember, I want you to take notes. So you remember what I am sharing with you, because this is good stuff. Okay. So I will share with you from the crown on down. Put your hands in the air. First of all, put your hands in the air. There you go. You can see them. Wave them around like you just don't care. And then let's do a crown on down scan. Okay. Just of how you're feeling in your body. This is almost like everything is green. Everything is good and moving forward, except for anything that pops up yellow or yellow or red, just like traffic signals. I'm down to my belly, taking a right angle at the hips, going down to the... All right, I'm feeling pretty good. I had a little bit of something stuck in my throat, so I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Now, here's an interesting thing. I said a quick sip of water. Do not sip quickly. You have to sip slowly. Sipping slowly also kind of helps you regulate your nervous system. Sipping quickly will probably get it up your nose. Okay. Oh, there we go. Patty is offering, if you want to see more of me, you can mirror YouTube to your TV, and I'm in the room with you. So God knows how big that will be. You'll probably see, I just saw something on the big screen, IMAX last week, and my gosh, the details you will pick out. So who knows what details will be revealed. So we just did a scan from the crown on down, how we're feeling physically. Yay, I hope you're feeling better. Nervous system. Hopefully you're just kind of floating on like a little, what do you call it? I'm trying to get in there. A little flamingo floating around, nothing too shaky and not totally dead, but something nice. So calming down, slowing down, breathing down, getting yourself physically and kind of energetically prepared to do some decluttering or even just some learning. Number 3 will be writing down. So make sure you have a pen and a piece of paper, ideally a notebook, to keep all your notes about when we're hanging out in one place. Write down the things that resonate with you. That could be like, ooh, that could be helpful. And then number 4 is always going to be chunking it down. Okay, so that's the nice 4-step process. I hope you wrote that down. All right, Heather MC. Yo, Heather MC. There we go. Laura LGV is in the house. Hi there. I have had some good decluttering this weekend. I love catching up with people because I wasn't around for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I've had some good decluttering this weekend, donated things from the garage, and have someone coming to buy a power tool today. Yay. I forgot to take meds yesterday, so I'm recovering. So yeah, notice you may have forgotten to do this, the crown on down, to be like, oh, that's right, I need to take some medications. So you remembered it, and then you just picked up, you got off, you got back up again, and you did it. So I'm recovering. So that is a good reminder. This is another thing we do here, is we take care of ourselves, and we notice what worked, and we share it, and we notice what didn't work, and we share it. So anybody here, either on this live right now on Monday, March 23rd, or anybody watching this recording for however long I decide to keep it up on the YouTube, do you usually take a daily medication or a vitamin or a supplement? Do you? If yes, then have you taken it? Okay, if you have, awesome. Yay, smiley face. If not, leave the room now and go get whatever you have supposed to have taken and just take it now. Now, again, I'm not a doctor. If you're supposed to take it at regular schedules, like you do you. But as soon as you remember to do something you forgot, and especially the taking care of your body stuff, get back up on taking care of it. I had to do this the other night when we were away because, and this has happened to me before, so maybe it's happened to you. You're half awake and half asleep. And part of you is like, this is me. It's like, oh, I should get up and take something for my headache. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Everything okay? Okay. I'm doing a YouTube live. Anyhow, part of me was like, oh, I don't want to get up. Maybe I'll feel better if I just sleep and whatever. And then I said, no, get up and take the medication, because that will guarantee you feel better, not just hope that the sleep will make it go away. Yay for Daniel, little Tigger kitty, taking care of you. And yay for Judy Dukes. Yes, I have, and marked it on my habit tracker. So Judy Dukes, you are doing good on your habit tracker. I will say to myself, I will catch up on my habit tracker. Now, what's a habit tracker for those of you who are new here? Okay, let me just do this. So a habit tracker is a grid where you're saying, okay, I want to do these things on a daily or more frequent basis. It doesn't all have to be the daily. But what do? Do I do this? Do I do that? I don't think I did that. But even yesterday, I gave myself a pass yesterday because it was kind of a recovery day. But I even did some things that I feel good about. Now today, I'm almost done with some of my first water. Have I taken some of this? No, but it's better. Notice getting in the habit of being in the habit. All righty. Ooh, interesting. So awesome, sassy sauce. I will totally help you with sentimental decluttering. Yep. And protocol. I use this. I use things over and over again. So Laura is saying, I did not do a good job marking my to-do list. So notice, I'm not surprised I messed up. Notice the association between having a to-do list and paying attention to it and marking it. If you don't do that, you may mess up. And I love this phrase, I am learning. I am learning that when I have a change of daily activities, I need to pay closer attention to my to-do list. I was a substitute for a dress rehearsal for a musical yesterday, and that's how I ended up forgetting. Yes, I don't think you can really do this anymore, but is anybody old enough to remember when it was kind of easy to lock your keys in your car? That happened to me a handful of times in my past. Now I think they have kind of dummy-proofed it. What I always found, and maybe this is you too, is when things are going in the routine and the habit, you don't even notice what you're doing. But if your habit is disrupted, it can throw many things off. So for example, I haven't locked my keys in my car, but my keys will sometimes end up still being in the car when instead of just grabbing them and doing my thing, I have to go and turn around and pick some stuff up, and I will inevitably be doing something different. So Laura, notice what you learned from what happened. We want to learn from what we call mistakes. So we do something different, hopefully better the next time. So the next time Laura is a substitute and has a change of daily activity, she will remember today it's even more important that I pay close attention to my to-do list. You guys have experienced that with me firsthand. When I have had a client cancel, reschedule, nobody ever cancels, reschedule. And I then I say, oh, I have an hour of free time. And I neglect to look at my to-do list. And there's been one or two occasions in the past 4 years where I have missed some of the time where I said I would show up for a live. So it happens to all of us. But that shows the importance of and the benefit of writing things down and having a list to work from. So do you have a list to work from now, today? I do. I just showed it to you. If not, take some time with us right now while I talk about help sentimental decluttering with Awesome Sassy Sauce. So Awesome Sassy Sauce, this is kind of the cool thing. And I just call everybody for whatever their handle is, whatever shows up with me. The neat thing is about the YouTube lives versus the TikTok lives is there is a substantially smaller amount of people that show up for these. Because of that, we can really almost have like a back and forth conversation. And I'm not trying to manage, 70, 80, 90 extra people kind of coming through and asking and all this kind of distraction. It's a lot more quiet and focused here. It's like a smaller group of people. So Awesome Sassy Sauce. When you say you need help sentimental decluttering, one of the things that's going to help me help you, but also help you, is to take number 4 on the step. I would say numbers 3 and 4. Write it down and chunk it down. So before you write it down in the comments, I hope you have, I like just a plain notebook, nothing fancy, but if you have something to write down, because this is going to help you. What is a category of sentimental items? Just one category. Notice the chunk of one. Write that down on paper to yourself, and then write it in the comments. Now, a category. What's a category of clutter? It can be anything you want it to be. It can be like, it's my mom's stuff, it's laundry, it's old candles, it's photographs, things like that. Getting out of the general overwhelm and chunking down into a specific helps your nervous system also focus more on something specific that we can actually do something about. Because yes, there may be a lot of clutter around you, but one size does not fit all, as they said in square pegs, square pegs, square pegs. So it will be similar, but you can't deal with everything at the same time. It's like trying to eat a bite of every single food at once. You still have to pick up mashed potatoes and then green beans and then cranberry sauce and whatever. So chunking it down is a really beneficial tool in your toolkit. Writing it down for yourself first before me. You before me. Okay, and this is funny. I'm just going to talk text to my sister. Hey, exclamation point. I'm in the middle of a YouTube live, and I will text you afterwards. And now I'm going to actually put on my do not disturb. All right. There we go. Now notice this. Okay, so writing down things is going to help you. But just not writing down and setting it and forgetting it. Learn from like if you think about it, you have words in your head. The words in your head stay there until you either speak them or write them down or sing them or you get them out of you. But the words in your head, to be able to see what's going on in your brain. Okay. Yeah. So, for example, Laura Voorhees may have made a previous list, because usually when we make a list, think about this. When we make a list, part of our brain is thinking, A, that we can do this, and B, that we're going to feel good and have enough time to do all this stuff. Laura has woken up not feeling so good. So the list she made that is supposing that she's feeling okay needs to be retooled to match the amount of energy and time she has. And she says, I am going to retool today's to-do list. I'm going to simplify it. Now, typically, what does simplify mean? It means to chunk it down, to have fewer things. Simplify to the essentials. What is essential for me to get done today? Because that's all I can do. That's all I can handle today. Right. Do what you can handle. Anytime you try to do something you can't handle without preparing yourself, chaos can ensue. All right. Now, actually, Cheryl, it's kind of funny. I saw your message, and then I see it's retracted, and I'm like, oh, good, because I didn't really know what you were saying. It's all good, though. So what I will say is, a list is just a list. I made this list last week. I added to it. But if I had woken up this morning with a migraine, I know I would not be getting everything done on my list. And I would look for the things that I could do, or the things that are required for me to do today. Things that are there things that I could, I want to say, shuffle off to somebody else's stuff, or things that can wait till tomorrow? Probably. But luckily, when I did my scan from the crown on down, I'm feeling okay. And so, frankly, that text that I just got back from my sister was something that I had texted her about, I don't know, a half hour ago or so, about this thing that's on my list for number 1. So I got that one started. Okay, so awesome sassy sauce, photos. Okay. What kind of photos? Were they the photos? Are they, who are the photos of? Family, I'm thinking. Are they your photos? Are they someone else's photos? Now, I'm being extra vague here, even if I may know some of the backstory, because I want to walk you through the process. And I also want to walk through anybody else who's watching this either live or Memorex when this is recorded. So think about this. Photos is a big chunk. Photos, what's a smaller chunk? You could chunk down some of those photos. Like, as an illustration of that example, in this closet behind me right here, have my personal photos, my Beth photos. And did I introduce myself earlier? My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Okay. Nice to meet you. I have my photos of me, photos I took, photos of my friends, my photos. But I also have photos that I inherited, family photos, or even photos that I may have taken, but they are of people in the family. Different chunks, different ways of going about it. Okay, so collectibles you enjoy. Interesting. So notice I will say this, and you may be just putting it in there as kind of categories. Collectibles is another big header. Very vague and broad. So we chunk it down. You've already chunked it down, because under the header of collectibles, you have a category, collectibles that I enjoy. Now, the interesting thing about that category is there may be a silent category called collectibles I don't enjoy. Because think about that. Things you enjoy are not clutter, unless the quantity of it is that you don't enjoy it. If there's something that does not bring you joy, get curious about it. So notice you have collectibles I enjoy, and the inference of collectibles I do not enjoy. Collectibles, anything you do not enjoy that you keep in your home and struggle to get rid of it easily, is clutter. So talk to me about the stuff that you don't. Yeah. the stuff that you don't want, the collectibles you don't enjoy. That's where we go. Because you like the stuff you like. That's cool. I'm not going to convince you to get rid of stuff you like. That'd be mean. Convincing is mean anyway. Laura Voorhees, I don't think I've ever had such a small list before. Interesting. But notice this. Ooh, interesting. This is a small list, but it feels doable with the body I am dealing with today. So that is not a small list. That is a just right-sized list for how your Goldilocks feels today. I have sometimes, like last week, was it last week, the week before? Shit, time flies. I had one day where I could even actually, it's funny, I could easily look back on my calendar here. Yeah, Tuesday, March 10th. I brought my husband to a doctor's appointment. It took all day. One thing on the list, but it took all day. But it was just the right amount of stuff that I needed. So, yay. So the list size, the quantity of items that you put on your list, on your daily list. There's a difference between a daily list and kind of like your giant list on the background. But when you are creating your daily to-do list for today, factor in how you're feeling physically and the amount of time that you have already promised to do things for other people. That will give you the amount of time that you have to do things that you want to get done. Feel good about getting done what you hoped to do, no matter if it's one sentence on the list. You get that done, you're going to feel good. You get it started, you're going to feel good. The only thing that's going to make you feel not good, perhaps, is something you put on your daily list and you don't do anything with it. So that's something I can help with. All right. Okay, so Awesome Sauce, Sassy Sauce says, old photos inherited. Okay, sentimental clutter, photos, old photos inherited. And so we're going to continue, just so you know, the process is we're going to go from the big, and it's going to be like a funnel. We're going to chunk it down into an area where you think you might want to get started. Okay. But before we even go through that chunking down process, one of the things, and this is why I'm moving my head over here. Okay, I'm there with you, Awesome Sassy Sauce, because I have school photos and photographs I did in the darkroom in one of the totes in here. Okay, so I'm with you on that. But before we even go there, I want to introduce the concept of, which has changed my life in so many great ways, of your destination. What do I want? And establishing that prior to doing a lot of the activity to make sure that your activity is actually leading to the result you want. Now, for example, there can be many, Awesome Sassy Sauce is just saying darkroom photos. Now, I'm familiar with that process. And so I know that there are things to do where it's like you take a picture, you put the film in the camera. This is old school. You put the film in the camera, you take a picture. You take the film out of the camera. You develop the film. You get the negatives. You print the negatives. You put the paper in varying things. You let it dry out. All of those are parts of the process, are actions. But before you even take a picture, one of the things you should say is, why am I taking this picture? Why? So I would say to you, for example, and again, you have family photos, you've got your own personal like snapshots from your Kodak Instamatic, and then you may have, like, as you said, my old school photos in photography that I did in the darkroom. So like your creative photos, let's call them that. So you may not have an answer to the destination right away, and that's okay. Even introducing the concept of creating a destination or why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want that, can be a revelation. I like to think of it analogous to driving around kind of aimlessly in your car versus I want to go to there, as Tina Fey's daughter once wisely said. So I say to you, let's use your photographs in the darkroom photos. What is your destination for that? Now, I have some experience with this, and the reason I brought that up is because it's different from family photos you want inherited, that type of thing. So I still have quite a few of mine. What do I want to do with mine? I want to see if there are any that I want to share with a wider audience. Are there any photos I took back in my photo days that I would want to share with other people? Either have a exhibit, or maybe I want to make a book, or maybe just snap a snapshot and email it to somebody and say, "Oh gosh, do you remember this?" But why am I saving this? That is a statement, that is a question that can be asked in every single chunk of decluttering. Why am I saving these photos? So I would start there. I would ask myself the question without judgment, with curiosity. Sans judgment, avec curiosity. With an open heart and open ears and open eyes, and just I'm listening to myself. Why am I saving these old photos that I took in 1980 something and whatever? And then not only would I listen for my answer, I would write down my answer. Again, step number 3 of writing it down. I saved my photos because I was hoping they would look better in hindsight. I may have been extra judgy about them when I was taking them, but I hoped that maybe they would increase in value. Now, in value monetarily, not so much, but maybe I ended up taking pictures of buildings that are no longer there, and somebody is writing a book and they are asking me to use a photo. It has happened to me. I have been paid for my photographs. Doesn't happen often, but it happens. Why am I saving this? Because I want to remember I was a creative person back then. Maybe I want to prove to people, oh yeah, see that really cool photo on the wall? I took that photo. Whatever your words are in your head about why you are saving something, everybody here, you will benefit from writing it down. Writing those words down, not editing them. Editing is not what we do here. This is a creative space. So just listen to whatever is coming out of your head and a heart and write it down with your hands. So I just gave a few reasons why I saved those photos. I also grew up in a family of not throwing away people. So I was taught not to let go of things. So I kept them for a very long time. Notice I still say I have some of them in there. I have far fewer of them now, but I still have some. I like to go through them. I like to see what I was taking photos of in 1980 something. I like to reminisce about, oh, I remember exactly where that photo was taken. What was going on in my life when that photo was taken? Sometimes I don't like to reminisce about that. So sometimes if the photos make me sad, I say, I don't want evidence of a sad time, and I will throw them away. Also, people I don't like anymore. So that's just a few of my personal reasons. Awesome sassy sauce. I hope as I'm saying this, and anybody else who has asked themselves a question about a category of why am I keeping this, keeping your heart open, your ears open, and your hand at the ready to learn something about yourself. Why did I do this in the past? Why did I save this? Write it down. And I hope you're writing it down on paper. And after you write it down on paper, if you want to share it in in the comments, go right ahead. Yeah, so Laura Voorhees, this happened to me recently. I'm going through a big declutter because I have a substantial birthday coming up, and I'm kind of using that as a reason to kind of tidy things up before the next decade ahead of me. So Laura is saying, I found a journal of poetry I wrote back in the 80s. I'm thinking it might be time to say adieu, adios, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, right? I don't want it to exit past my living days. So it may be time to release. I found I had kept willingly a number of journals of creativity, but also Dear Diary type stuff since the 80s, 90s, and beyond, like they say on FM radio. What I discovered is I kept a lot of that because I was afraid to look at it, you know? And so I say to you, I didn't want anybody else to see it. If I want somebody else to see something, because like then I'll keep it. But if I don't want anybody else to see it, I am in control of what stories I leave behind for people. And so I went down and noticed a journal of poetry. And you may look at that poetry and groan. You may look at that poetry and be like, hey, that was pretty good. Because I found like song lyrics that I had thought I was going to write a song. I was looking for different ways. How do I express? How do I find out who I am? What do I want to do? So notice that you may want to go through it. You may feel okay leafing through it. You may feel like you want to read every word. You may just want to look at the whole thing and put it on the fire. But you're in control of that. Yeah. Yeah. But you notice one of the things you want is I don't want it to exist past after you're gone. So doing something with it now will ensure that. Yeah. Yeah. All righty. Yeah. So awesome sassy sauce is saying, gonna work on that. Yeah. And notice the neat thing is, this is the cool thing about the human brain. It is running programs in the background that you are not even aware of. So this is why I love to show up and do these TikTok lives and YouTube lives, is because some of the questions I ask, at 11:37 in the morning today will be something that your brain might be turning over and wrestling with in the back of your head when you don't even know it. It's kind of like on the back burner, kind of just simmering there. And then it may pop up with an idea hours later, right? Things that I don't enjoy is clutter. And what do I want? Yeah, because notice the joy and what you want is what you want. And these are deep questions that maybe none of us have even heard articulated before. That's okay. I ask myself questions a lot. And I am so much more comfortable being in like that deep end of the pool than I ever was. I used to run away from stuff and ignore and and, no, I can't deal and run away. That's why I had so much stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And notice, Laura, yeah, I read a bunch of it and a few of it was a little cringeworthy. But don't you kind of also like just love, you just have such affection for the earlier version of you? Yeah. Looking back at the earlier version of you, I was just trying to figure shit out. And I was trying to figure out the best way to do it. So I thought I might try poetry. I thought I might try drawing. I thought I might try writing song lyrics or maybe cartooning or photographs or something to try to make sense of what's going on inside of me that feels very whatever. Yeah. So love those previous versions of yourself. Love all of the iterations of yourself. You know how like when you upgrade your apps on your phone and it says like, version whatever, every single one of us has a version of ourselves. Our 1-year-old, our 10, 5 or 15 or 25 or 40-year-old or 72, all of that. Love all of the versions of yourself, and it's okay to improve upon it. Build upon that. Yeah, I love it. Patty says, I've saved drawings I did when I was younger, babysitting age. I used to love to draw, and my darling daughter was shocked that I did that. So notice, you are showing somebody else a facet of yourself that hasn't been revealed before. The dimensions of your body of your life are not necessarily what you see here. Yeah, and little Laura, me, little Beth. Oh my gosh, I had such, and it was funny, Mike, because when I was doing some of my decluttering, yay, awesome sauce. The neat thing is about taking notes too. Awesome sauce is that one of the things that years ago, somebody watching me said, I wish I could remember who it was, doesn't matter, but they said, do you ever record your TikTok lives and post them somewhere you can watch them again? And I didn't at that time, but now I do. That's why there's over 1,000 of these. So awesome sauce, sassy sauce, excuse me. If you are liking what you're hearing now and you may be scrambling and scribbling, no fear. Just remember that today's YouTube Live is the one from Monday, the 23rd, and that it is recorded. So anything you think you miss, you don't have to fear. It's not like it's live here, but it is also being recorded. So actively listen and jot down things now. But if you miss something, you can always go back and you can watch the recording. The other thing cool is about the recording is you can fast forward, you can slow down, you can change the speed with which I'm talking, you put captions on. Like there's a lot of good ways to use it as supplemental material. Okay. So I find that to be very helpful myself. But notice just asking yourself, hey, why did I save this? There's the past, the present, and the future. It's like using Spanish, like a foreign language. Why did I save this? It could be because I was brought up in a house that says don't throw away anything. Okay, noted. That's why I saved it initially. 2026, March of 2026. Why am I saving this now? What is my reason now? Whatever comes up, write it down. One of the big reasons we save things sometimes, and especially sentimental objects, is I don't want to forget somebody who passed. And I save things of me because I don't want to be forgotten. And those are deep things. How do you want to be remembered then? Do you want to be remembered as the person who left all this crap for somebody else to deal with? Or do you want to share the stories of who you are while you're alive so those people get that three-dimensional, four-dimensional version of yourself while you're still alive? Yeah. Okay, so broski, I have a hard time doing the daily cleaning. I do it, but I'm exhausted from it every day. Laundry, dishes, rooms, floors, bathroom, repeat. This is where I will say, first of all, just to be clear, cleaning is different from decluttering, but it's the same concept. It's getting rid of what you don't want. You don't want grime, you don't want dust, you don't want food in the sink. Cleaning is a bit of decluttering. But I will say to you, if you are doing something daily and it's exhausting you, part of me, my process engineer brain would say, are you working harder versus working smarter? Let's work smarter, not harder, okay? So I would want to take a look at what your definition of daily cleaning is. Are you doing too much? And that could be exhausting you. How clean do you want it to be? Are there other people you're living with that could also participate in the cleaning because they benefit from the cleanliness? I can't tell you the last time I cleaned my bathroom floor. Like I wipe down occasionally and I've done some vacuuming, but I have a tolerance for dust and clutter, which is, trust me, is like anal retentive compared to some people. But my level of feeling okay with dust is okay with me because I don't want to spend every day dusting. So I don't. And if I see dust, I say, well, that's because I haven't dusted, and that's okay. So broski, I'd be very curious about, I would observe you. So observe yourself, and I would time you. If I was a process engineer, I'd stand there and I would just watch and I would say, okay, this is what you're doing. And I would notice what you're doing with your existing system, what you do, how long it takes, and the result you get. And then how often you repeat that. And then I would come in as your consultant and say, well, this is what I've observed is you are maybe putting too many steps in something. You are maybe trying to achieve a level of perfection that is pretty much, if not attainable, but just not sustainable. So if I were there watching you, how long does it take you to do what you're doing? And how could we make it more efficient? And the reason I say more efficient is because, frankly, I'm a lazy mofo. I don't want to spend any more time cleaning and decluttering than I have to, because I want to spend the majority of my time doing whatever the F I want. So efficiency helps you get the stuff done that you're not particularly psyched about, but you adult and you want a house that, doesn't have hairs growing all over the bathroom floor. So you do those things, but it doesn't need to be your life. The days to me of the housewife are over. The days are over. You're not married to your house. You are a fully formed human being who has a finite amount of time on this planet. And I want to make sure that when I show up, I'm reminding you of that. So you decrease the amount of time you spent on the mundane and you increase the amount of stuff that only you can do with this one glorious gift of life you've had. That's what I do with my life. And that's why even when I love doing my coaching and doing the TikTok lives and YouTube lives, I go off the digital grid and I say, stopping that and doing the things that I will look back from we talked about the past, the present. How about the future? Everybody, you're sitting on in your deathbed. You're looking back to March of 2026 and you're saying, oh boy, I'm so glad that all of the windows in my house were so clean. Versus, man, I wish I had spent that time that I used for cleaning the windows and instead written a poem or crocheted something or had a coffee with a friend or took a road trip or something that added to the quality of my life. So observe yourself. Pretend you're being watched. Could I do this in a more efficient way? I could do a load of laundry a day, just one outfit, or I can let it stack up to just enough, the right amount, where it nicely, easily fills a washing machine load. And then I do that one load of laundry, as opposed to a whole bunch, or the flip side, whereas you ignore it and then you have mounds of laundry. Does that help, Broski? I hope it does. I hope it does. But everybody, as they say in some woo-woo place, be the observer. Pretend you're watching yourself, even right now. Notice how awesome your life is. You have the benefit of tuning in for a full hour or a great amount of it. You have the great benefit, the privilege of tuning into a YouTube live on a random Monday morning at 10 minutes of noon. You're not working at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. You're not at your desk. You have the benefit. If you stepped outside of your life for a minute and started writing down all the amazing things of your life, talk about recalibrating how you think and feel about it. Yeah, see, I see what you're saying, Broski. I guess I let it build up because I'm tired of cleaning and overwhelmed, switch to decluttering, and then have to catch up cleaning. So what I hear is this, okay, and I get this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you doing this. But what I've noticed is this. So cleaning, everybody, just so you know, cleaning is never done. There are times when you get to a point when it's done, but then the next time you take off your clothes, boom, that becomes laundry. Okay? And the other thing is, it's not an either or, it's a yes and. Okay? If you get tired of doing something, you ignore it, but then it piles up like laundry, like dishes, and it's even worse to deal with a big thing. So what I help you do is to chunk it down and start again. But also, if I was observing you and I was observing the bigger picture of where you're doing this, I would probably see, Broski, because you just revealed this, also lots of people, and it's just me cleaning. Now, as your paid consultant, what I would notice is that there's a work imbalance here in your office. Switch it to an office. This one person is doing everything. And what are all these other people doing here besides benefiting from your work? And the way I coach is to say, redistribute the workload. Now, the people in the office who've been having their feet kicked up and they've been watching their phones while you're there scrubbing the floors all the time, and then they go and eat and they leave their dishes and then you just clean them up, they might start a ruckus. That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes there needs to be a temporary discomfort in order to change things. So I say, if you don't like to be the only person cleaning all the time, change it. Now, it's not as easy to do it as to say it, but it's not impossible. Speak up for what you want. Notice this. I want to stop this thing that I don't like. I want to stop being the only person who does the majority of the cleaning in this house. And therefore, what do I want to start? I want to start doing fewer cleaning activities and yet still have the house get done, because we're going to redistribute those chores to everybody. And as a person on the planet who is a valuable asset, taking care of your stuff and not expecting somebody else, and granted this could be Gen X, but not expecting anybody else to clean up after you, and being responsible for your own stuff is a really good way to be. If somebody wants to help or pitch in or even just do it themselves, that's fine. But expecting somebody else to always take care of you is not a good way to raise a society. Animals, many animals, tough love their kids, so they grow up and they push them out of their nests, but they push them out with the skills that they need to survive. I'm here to help you learn the skills that you have, get better at them, and then you share those skills with somebody else. Here's how to do the dishes. Here's how to run the dishwasher. Here's how to use the vacuum. Here's how to fold and put away your own clothes. I don't see anything wrong with teaching people how to be self-efficient. Even little kids, many of us grew up with somebody else picking up after us or not, to better or worse. Then you don't learn how to do it yourself, and then you create a perpetual cycle of clutter. Okay? But if you're tired, if you're overwhelmed and you don't want to be tired and overwhelmed, write that down. What's my destination? Let's start with the negatives. Or I don't want to be tired. I don't want to be overwhelmed. All right, what's the opposite of that? Well, opposite of tired is well rested. Notice, what do I want? I want to feel well rested. I want to feel not overwhelmed, not brain dead, but I want to feel centered, settled, just right, not too hot, not too cold, just right. When you ask yourself, what do I want? Again, I'm looking up here because I've written down that simple statement for the last, how many? I always seem to put it on one of my, since 2023, I have had that simple statement. What do I want? And then I start creating it. What do I want? But I'll share this with you. If your initial gut reaction is when you say, what do I want, is I don't know, that's cool. Get that out of the way. Just get the out of the way, write it down, and then say, but if I did know, here are a few clues. Listen to yourself. Yourself. Myself is telling me my things. Yourself is telling you your things. What do I want? Do not be afraid to ask that question of yourself. And do not be afraid to listen to it and write it down, because what you want is important. Now, the one thing I will share, and trust me, broski, imagine this scenario, okay? Because I love it. I'm going to make a list to distribute the chores today. I get the motivation and it's a good idea, but let's keep our eyes on the prize, okay? We want there to be buy-in. We want those people to not immediately resist when you say, here, do this. They may be like, whoa, wait a minute. And there may be immediate resistance, okay? And what I will share is this. Before you distribute your chores, get clear on, you're going to need to do some sales. You're going to need to do some selling. What's in it for me? If there's something in it for them, they will be more likely to do it because it benefits them. So I would say make a list of the chores to distribute, but also make a list of this is why you doing this will benefit you. So off the top of my head, if I was to redistribute some chores around to other people, how would that benefit you? You're going to learn a new skill. You're going to learn a skill that will benefit you for the entirety of your life. When you move out of this house and into your own place, you will know how to easily take care of your own place. So you won't be the person with the messy apartment or house. How this will benefit you by me us redistributing the workload? I won't be such a flaming bitch. I will be nicer to be around. There will be more harmony in the house because I won't be crabbing about doing all the stuff all the time. How else will it benefit you? Well, the house will be cleaner. I will be feeling better. You may feel more comfortable inviting friends over. So notice, if you said to somebody, do this, they may be like, yeah, why? And then you say, because this, not because I told you of that, but because this is subtle but effective. You want them to do the thing. But if you immediately say, do this because I say so, you are immediately creating an instance of friction and pushing back versus here's what's in it for you if you do this. So let's be strategic, shall we? This is what I want, and what's the easiest way I can get it? Yeah, my husband doesn't want the skill. Doesn't matter. It's a tough love thing. If I die, you're going to need to know how to clean the house. You're going to need to know how to do these things when I go away on this fabulous trip I'm going on, And if your husband doesn't want the skill, it's like a little kid doesn't want the skill because he wants his mom to do it all for him. But that's not good for the mom and it's not good for the kid. As Patty says, for some reason, we have confused making people do stuff in the house with not taking care of them instead of teaching them to take care of themselves. She says, I'm guilty of that too. It also happens a lot in a patriarchal society that women are told, you don't care if you're not taking care of me. That's bullshit. Every human being should have the skills to take care of themselves because then they also know how to take care of other people, including themselves. It's a win-win. Yeah, now there will be a disruption in the alleged harmony of the home. And I say alleged harmony because it hasn't been harmonious for you. But remember, what you want is important. Asking yourself what I want is your destination of any kind. I want destination by the end of today. I want to feel good because I got these things done before I leave on my trip tomorrow. Destination by the end of this week. I want this to happen. Destination by April 1st. I want this to happen. Always thinking in what do I want and I can create it. All right. Now, speaking of that, I just realized that we have a minute. So I'm going to sign off and remind you of a few things. One is that this was recorded. So this is going to be up in the March playlist. Today is the one from Monday, March 23rd. It's the YouTube, not the TikTok. I won't have another live until this time next week. Not even this time. I got to check. But there is a schedule of when I show up live. And if you want to show up when I show up live, consult the schedule. You have access to the schedule if you are part of the Destination Decluttered email group. You already know the secret page. If you're not, if you're new here and you're like, man, this was really cool. I'm kind of digging this. I show up free on TikTok and YouTube quite often, and it's scheduled, and I show up at that schedule. If you, what's in it for you to get this help, to get this support, to learn some things, if you want that, all you need to do is go to my website, destinationdecluttered.com, scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, see the little block where it says join the group, want to jumpstart, something like that. Put your email address in, promise you're not a robot, submit your, enter, join, whatever the button says. And then what should happen is you should be getting an automatic email from me that gives you the link to the page with the schedule on it. Now, if you don't get it initially, two things. One is look in your spam folder because you've probably never gotten an email from me and your spam is trying to protect you. So look for it and look at the thing, and I'm going to change it slightly, and then I will see you next week. Okay. I hope it helps. You guys got this. Okay. I'm going to send you a little hearts. There we go. There's some hearts. I will see you next week, next Monday, March 30th. Okay. Kind of same bat time, kind of same bat channel. All right.